Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another Lazy Gang Hang. We're here in the middle of the month this time since April is so busy, and we just had to change it up and keep it inconsistent on everybody. So,
We have to. It's part of the brand at this
yeah,
point.
yeah. So, I don't know if anyone is here yet, but
Actually, I've only just now sent the link and was like, "We're gonna be live in 2 seconds, people."
I always think that I'm ready to stream, and then I sit down to get my shit together, and I don't have anything ready. So.
We were only a few minutes late, but yes.
Fine, we're just giving people time to show up.
Yeah,
Well, in the 2 weeks since we last streamed, how are you, Malin?
I'm good. As I don't know if it's visible, I feel like my skin is so shiny because I've just been outside because it is finally spring-ish time in London, and we got what was it, 18 degrees out, 20 degrees right now, which I don't know what that is in your language.
Sounds warm.
20 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit, 68
Yeah,
Fahrenheit.
beautiful.
I don't know. I imagine that's not very impressive for a lot of places, but for us it is. For London it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just enjoying being in the sun for a little bit. Had a barbecue,
Yay.
chilled, and I've not been drafting anything for the past couple of weeks. So
Yeah. How has that felt? How have you felt not actively pushing to the end of a project?
it's been interesting. I feel like my mind is it had a hard time switching. And just I've been wanting, itching to do something and write and be like, this is my purpose in life, you know?
Yeah.
And sort of after work, when I'm done with work and I'm like, okay, what do I do now? I'm struggling to engage with media at the moment. Um, I've found it hard to be like, now that I'm not drafting, I need to be able to enjoy other forms of entertainment again.
Yeah. Trying to turn my brain off and just refill the well a little bit.
Yeah, but I think it's necessary because when I have a good break and then plunge back into a manuscript, I find it a lot better to be able to see where it needs fixing. So, yeah.
Yeah. Mental breaks are very needed.
Yes, exactly. How about you? How have you been these past couple of weeks?
I'm good. I am halfway through my revision.
Yes.
I'm on chapter 18 of 36. And it's going well. We're picking up steam. And I'm getting
Yeah,
a little
because
more.
you've done the big chapter, no? Like the
Yeah.
bulk.
A lot
Yeah.
of the changes that were the most time consuming were in the first third of the book.
Mm.
Well, first half, I guess I'll say. So I feel like I'm through a lot of that, and now it's really just chapter tweaks all the way through. I don't have to draft new chapters.
Yeah.
So that's a relief.
That's good. That's because even though you're saying I'm halfway through or past the halfway point, you've done a lot more. You're 75% through if you've done the biggest chapter. So
Yeah. I still feel like it's possible that I could finish it by the end of April because the end shouldn't be so
yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
So
Excited.
I have to be
And
dedicated and push hard to do that, but I really want to do that.
and you know the reward is to get 2 books to read in exchange.
Yeah. And I'm really excited about that. Honestly, I'm so excited to read someone else's work and get out of my project for a second.
But it's sometimes it's good to get out of your own head. It's just I've been in my brain for too long. I need someone else's brain.
Exactly. Please, someone else's imaginary maladaptive daydream, please. I'm sick of mine.
Literally. How did you know that's how I've come up with all my stories?
Yeah. We do have Marta here.
Hi,
Hi.
Morta.
Hi, Marta. I'm happy someone else is here with us.
Are you enjoying the nice weather in the UK today, Marta? Because I was just bragging about having a barbecue at lunchtime, and I'm wearing a summer dress like it's crazy.
And Marta, low key, I am gonna DM you and ask you if you want a beta read for me. So I hope
I'm
that's
s- I'm definitely gonna put I think in the Discord at some point calls for beta reading for the next one that's going to be ready, which is Lockhart and Beckett. So it's changed names so many times. I don't even know what name I'm going to stick with, but the one that's basically Angel season 5.
I'm so excited. I have not read that one.
That's true. But it's not been ready. I have left it to the side after finishing the first draft, and I've not touched it since. So I'm
Yeah.
touching it now, and I'm partially starting this month to do a little bit of that. So I might do a little bit of that during one of the sprints as well. What I'm doing is I had reread it one time and made a bunch of notes on my PDF about like need to change that, blah blah. And I also have as a goal to include a lot more absurd stuff that is very like supernatural elements into a corporate office environment. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm trying to do that at the same time as fixing some of the small issues. So that's my first pass that I'm gonna do. And maybe
Very,
after that first round, I'll feel like it's more ready to be read by like, you know, maybe critique partner level, so you and Hudson, and then beta readers once I've done another round. I don't know.
yeah. So you're just very casually starting that revision process.
Yes, like I've not officially said I'm going to be doing this in April, but I'm sort of starting slowly while I do other stuff.
Very fun. Yay. Okay. No worries. We forgive you. Gotta do what you gotta do. And I hope you're feeling better. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Been in a fever all week. Marta.
What's going on? Is it COVID or is it like just a fever that is unrelated?
Yeah, my goodness. I hope you're getting better and, getting medicine and everything. My goodness. You're very sweet. You're very sweet. But only because you've said so many times that you want to read it. And I'm like, okay, girl, I'm right here. Careful what you wish for. All right. Well, we do have a topic for today. Should we introduce the topic or do the first question, or should we just sprint? How are we feeling?
I think we can introduce the topic and maybe do you want to put up the first question and then sprint?
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't know. And that way if anyone else shows up, if they want, they can also answer the question. And yeah. I can't remember what the first question is.
It is. So our topic for today is prose. Do you want to talk about the TikTok that you
Oh
found?
yeah. So
This?
yeah, this sort of started off because in a private chat we were talking like I so on TikTok because I've been trying to make my algorithm more related to reading and writing so that I get TikToks that are related to that on my author TikTok, writer TikTok, whatever. And a TikTok that I got was of this girl talking about I think it was unrelated, and then she mentioned Sarah J. Maas and was like,
Yeah.
she was basically saying like she's got great storytelling, but I don't think she's got great sentence level craft. And someone asked, "What do you mean? Do you have examples?" Because I hear a lot of people say that about her writing. And so she did a secondary TikTok, which is the one I sent to you and Hudson, that was basically comparing two very similar scenes of someone entering a ballroom, one in one of Sarah J. Maas's books. I don't know which one because I have not read them and I am not a fan. Like I've tried to read the first book in Akatar or whatever, and it's not for me. As in the story is not for me. It's
Yeah.
just wasn't that intrigued by it. And she read another one. I can't remember the name. I think it's like A Dark Window or something like that. I think that's what it is. It's like a duology fantasy that a lot of people have been recommending on TikTok. Actually, I've seen it all over the place, where someone is also entering a ballroom, and both characters have a very similar sentiment about said ballroom. They don't like it's not a nice place. It's like anyway, and they describe it in very different ways. And so she was sort of talking about how the first description was a bit more basic and a little bit less prosy and less well crafted. And the second description had a lot of feelings coming through simple sentences. So it was well crafted. And I saw that. And when she read the first passage, the Sarah J. Maas one, granted, I've not read her books, so I don't actually know what her overarching prose is like, but I wasn't shocked by it. I wasn't like, this is bad. And
Right.
I've definitely read worse.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was like, it just feels very simple and like sort of minimalistic, which I don't mind because I think that's how I write. And I don't have very purpley prose or very,
Hmm.
I think it's on a spectrum, obviously, but
Yeah.
my prose is quite action based, I feel like, and it's more about pacing and less beautiful language. And the second example she gave, I thought there were a lot of words that were complex and beautiful, but it made me stop and realize this is a book I'm reading and not
Uh,
I'm plunged to the story. So started talking about feelings based from language use and prose in general and what we consider to be good slash beautiful prose.
yeah. And what is the utility of prose, which
Yeah.
sparked a whole thing.
Yes.
So that's our first question. So we will come back to this after the sprint, and I want to hear everyone's thoughts because this sparked such a long
Yeah,
discussion.
and I mean I took like 4 minutes to explain myself, so
No worries. Yeah, I think, and maybe we can put the TikTok somewhere if someone's interested in seeing it.
yes, I think because I've got it in the links somewhere. I must have shared on our chat, so I can probably
Yeah.
just link it in the chat. It was very well made TikTok, I would say. No hate to the creator whatsoever. I was just like, I genuinely don't know whether I agree or not with her
Yeah.
take on it. And it sparked such an interesting discussion that I was like, oh, this is fascinating, actually. So kudos on her for bringing topics of
Yeah.
conversation.
It's interesting when you come across like a nuanced craft discussion
Yes,
talk.
exactly.
um, all right. Well, keep that in mind, everybody. I'm going to get our first sprint pulled up. So, Malin, what are you going to be working on during our sprints?
Um, so I think during the first sprint, I'm gonna get my shit together.
Uh-huh.
I need to send a couple of queries today because as part of my
Ooh.
weekly goal, I haven't done all the queries I need to do today. Um,
Okay.
so I'm probably going to work on that, and I might pick easy ones, like ones where it's simple what they're asking for. Because at the beginning of the week, I did a hard one where they were asking for something so specific, I had to rework it.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, like it needs to all be sent in one document as well. So I was just like, okay, so now I have to craft this together, and I don't want to do that today. So I'm just gonna pick some simple ones.
Saturday
Um,
only.
I need to do that, and then I need to work a little bit. I need to do a TikTok at some point because I've been saying I'm gonna do one per week as well. So I will probably work on that and making a little video. And yeah, that's it. What about
Fun.
you? Are you revising?
Am going to be revising at some point today, but I think at least for this first sprint, I'm going to do some filming.
Mm,
Um, I'm trying to film my office, like redecorating. As you can tell, I have some stuff behind me, sneak peek. And I want to film while it's sunny out. So trying to
yes,
take advantage because the days go by so quickly and then it's 4 p.m. and I haven't done anything and it's too late to film.
fair.
So that's what I'll be working on. So here's our first perfect Pomodoro. Good luck, everybody.
Okay, everyone, that's our break.
Nice.
How did you do?
Um, I did not do all that much, I'm not gonna lie. I got distracted because my sister-in-law was asking for recommendations of places to go to in Brussels because she's got a friend who's going this weekend, and
Ooh.
I was like, what do you need? Restaurants, bars, places to visit, like be more specific. So
Yeah.
I just sort of went into a loop of how about that place and this place? And if she wants to have a drink there, then that's nice. And that was about it.
It's a big question. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a bit distracted. And then I also was looking for and think I found a passage to read later because we said we would maybe give an example of what
Excellent.
we like as prose. So I was also looking for that. And then sort of sorted my ship, got everything ready in place. So it's been more of a prepping
Yeah.
one for me.
Very good.
What about you?
I filmed my intro, which is good. I feel like I whenever I like film intros without thinking about it beforehand and writing down like the things that I need to say,
Mm.
it is a
You
mess.
ramble. I always
And
ramble.
so I'm just rambling away and I'm like, okay, I think I got it. No, I have to talk about this. No, I have to talk about this. So
Yeah.
I feel bad for future editing Anna. She's not going to be happy with what I just did, but
I think for some video, I try to make a little bullet point list, but I find that if I have to put that much effort into it, I end up not filming it. And so I prefer
mhm.
doing the rambling thing anyway. But
Yeah.
sometimes if I'm like, this was way too rambly, I'm just going to refilm this intro.
Yeah, it might get that way. I've been meaning to do it all week and just
Mm.
never got around to it. So, whatever. We'll call it a rough draft. And I think I just have to do like a spin around the room of like the before shot, basically.
Yeah.
And then we can take it from there. So,
Nice.
yeah. All right. Well, would you like to talk about your answer to the first question?
Sure. I think I sort of started entering it, I guess, when we were talking about the TikTok that launched
Yeah.
the discussion. So how do I think about prose and language as a reader and how it plays in my enjoyment of a book? For me, and I understand this is potentially not what most people think, because I feel like most
Mm.
people enjoy beautiful sentences, and I think a lot more people enjoy like, you know, stunning words and phrases that they don't expect, etc. But for me, good prose is invisible prose. Like if I
Mm.
don't notice it, if I don't question it, if I don't stop to be like, wow, what a stunning sentence, then that's better because then I'm
Mm.
plunged inside the story. And I think I like to read more actiony books. So maybe that plays a part in it.
Yeah.
While some people might prefer more maybe character driven books and books that maybe question have like interesting messages or philosophical questions or things like that. Like the one example I can think of a book that is not for me and I think has beautiful prose is Adi LaRue,
Yeah.
which I read about half of it before I was like, I need to DNF it because it's not for me.
Same.
Because nothing is happening. And
Yeah.
I understand it was beautifully written, but it was just not for me. So in a way, that was an enjoyable prose for me. So I feel like there's a difference between what I can say objectively is probably gorgeous, but not for me, and what
Mhm.
I subjectively really love. And what I love is good pace, good use of prose when it comes to action scenes. To me, like I think that's hard to do, to not notice language when you're in an action scene and a lot of things are happening. You have a lot of limbs involved, maybe a lot of,
Yeah.
so when that's well done, you don't notice it. The prose is invisible, and that's
Mhm.
what I enjoy.
Yeah, I really agree, and I have a cat going crazy at my door, so I'm gonna let him in, and then I will
Yes.
answer
Let
the
that
question.
in. Let
Um,
in.
he is just absolutely going bonkers. "Okay, you can come in."
We see the cat.
Um,
We see the cat.
Now he's not there, of course, but I'm sure he'll make an appearance.
It's the door open. He just
Oh my
wants the door to be
gosh,
open.
he gets really upset. Oh, here he is. Um, Hi. I think I totally agree. Hi. Will you behave now and let me listen to Malin instead of meowing?
Oh God. Oh, kitty. And a cat.
I'm hoping he will settle in a second. Um, I really agree, and I think it depends a lot on the genre, kinda like you said, and, like, we both really like genre fiction, I think, as readers, and so
Yeah.
I think invisible prose is really useful,
Yeah.
and for me, like, really lovely prose is kind of a cherry on top, but it's not necessary, and if the story is good, then I will read anything, any quality of prose, if the story is compelling enough to
Yeah.
pull me through it.
Yeah.
Um,
Story, like being able to tell a plot and a story in a good manner, I think is more important than
yeah.
language. Yeah.
Yeah. I do really enjoy those, like, few times a year where I pick something up more literary and it feels like, "Oh, wow, this is writing is cool, man," and, like, you have
And
those
you're like,
instances.
I'm so smart. I'm reading this. I feel like that.
Yeah. And you have instances where a writer describes something in a way that makes you kinda stop in your tracks and go like, "Whoa, like,
Yeah.
that was cool. That was
Yeah.
really well done or beautiful or really just hit home or evocative or whatever, but I don't need that to enjoy a book, even though I do enjoy it."
Yeah. And the books that I have been most obsessed with and that I've enjoyed the most usually don't have what I would consider to be extraordinarily beautiful prose. They just have prose that I don't notice, which I'm happy with. So it's really
Mhm.
hard to find examples of what I mean because I can't think back and be like, yeah, that one had really good prose. I don't know.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Um, I really agreed with what JC said, and hi, JC. Great prose is a plus, but good enough prose is good enough for me if the plot and the characters come through well. I don't think it needs to be beautiful to be good enough, but it can't take me out of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the thing that I worry about the most when people say, beautiful prose. And the example in the TikTok I sent, I found hard to read. And maybe it's because English is my second language, I'm not sure. But there were more words that I tripped over because I was like, oh, I don't expect that word there. And it's
Mhm.
stunning. It looks beautiful, but I'm going to have to reread that sentence. I don't want to have to do that. Like, I just want to read it once.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
That reminds me of when we were having this first conversation together with Hudson. She made an excellent point about like expectations. And
Yes.
if you have an expectation of this is just like a fun romanticy book, and then all of a sudden the writing becomes kind of more literary, it kind of throws you.
You're like, what is this doing there?
Yeah. Like, move on. Like, where's the only one bed? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Marta said, I think it depends on what the prose is for. I really like descriptive, flowery language in some books, but in a way, it makes me read slower, focusing more on the artistry of the sentences than the book itself. In
Yeah.
general, I think I prefer books which don't have it. Like Malin said, it's easier to enjoy the story when the language isn't distracting, but I think both their styles have their place.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember that different books have different aims, different books have
Yeah.
different goals. It's not like it's apples and
Oh,
oranges.
I even just because we're talking about it, now I'm thinking about examples. I'm just like, oh yeah, like actually one of the books that I thought had the most beautiful prose was Practical Magic by
Mm,
Alice Hoffman. But it's a slower book and it's very evocative, exactly what you'd expect from something that's a little bit more literary. It's not very highly literary either. It's just a bit more than what I normally read. And
mhm.
in like when I read it, it was in autumn and it had like all of these feelings in this book that I was like, oh, this is what's around me. And it was just very, yeah.
Just hit the
Words
moment.
are hard. Words
Yeah, I know.
are hard, man.
Words are hard. Um, Marta also didn't do much during that sprint, mostly put away some laundry, and then groceries got here, so I put those away, and my headache started again. So I'll see whether I actually get to writing later.
Oh, I'm sorry
Mm,
to hear that, Mona.
take it easy.
Yeah.
Sounds like you did a lot for yourself.
Yeah.
Adam said, when reading, I try not to think about prose. I just meet the author's style on its own terms, as long as it fits the themes and characters. I'm fine. So I suppose while it's not an exact ditto to the things Malin said, that's still the general idea.
And I
Yeah.
think it relates back as well to what Hudson had said about the expectations as well. It's yeah, if it fits what you're expecting as you get
Mhm.
into the book, then you're not gonna trip over a sudden word that you didn't expect. And so you're not gonna be like, what
Mm,
was that?
yeah.
It's like going to like a rave and seeing someone dressed up in a fancy 3D suit.
Yeah,
You
that is
know,
a great metaphor.
it's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Aren't you a bit overdressed? Are you hot? Are you stuffy?
Yeah.
Yeah. We got some love for the cat.
Oh, kitty. What's the cat's name? I don't even know.
His name is Maddox, but Luke and I just call him Buddy Boy, so his name is Buddy to us.
But nice.
Marta said, also something to add, if the prose is actually not just average, but noticeably bad, then I do notice it, and that also pulls me out of the story. But it has to be really bad for it to bother me, though.
Yeah, same. And
Agreed.
that's happened when I've tried my hand again at reading some fan fiction, because obviously it's not published,
Hmm.
it's not been edited or anything of the sort. And
Yeah.
sometimes some fan fictions I did not expect to be like, oh, this has not had any work done. This was, written and sent.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bar for me truly is so low for me to enjoy something that if I am DNFing it because of prose, woof. Because I can put up with a lot. If you have a
Yeah.
hook that I just have to see the end of,
Yeah.
you
And
can.
usually what makes me DNF books is, yeah, it's never the prose. It's always like a plot device or something that I'm just
Mhm.
like, no, this is annoying. Or what do you mean she's
Right.
pregnant? No.
Right. Yeah, seriously. Hi, Devasia. It doesn't detract from my enjoyment of the book, but it does factor in when I go to rate the book. That's
Yeah,
true.
that's true.
That's true. You can still finish something and, be like, oh, that wasn't the best, but it served its purpose. I got to the end.
Yeah.
Also, hi, good morning. Good morning.
It's afternoon for me. Good
Oh,
time zone.
good afternoon. The prose doesn't necessarily have to be flowery, but it has to pull the weight of the scene. Like, why are we in an emotional climactic moment and you're telling me instead of showing me?
Yes. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, there's sometimes you notice it, but again, then it's not invisible prose to me, so it's not good either. Do you know what I mean? When I say
Hmm.
invisible prose, I don't mean not thought about. I don't mean something that
Hmm.
was written like poorly. I just mean that it's still well crafted, but I'm not going to notice it because the language is not going to jump at me as something extra. It's still doing its job. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think this comment hits on craft because even if the language is plain, the author is still doing that important showing
Mm,
and immersion, even if the language is plain. And that's kind of what I think we're all agreeing on is more important.
yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks everybody. Our next one, drum roll please. How would you describe your prose as a writer? Can you show an example of a snippet of your writing that you feel exemplifies your style? So we'll leave that for next time.
And how long do you want to make the next sprint?
Um, do you want a longer one or the same? How are you feeling?
I feel like 20, 25 minutes are good at the moment because, like I said, my mind is a bit less on drafting, so I don't need longer ones to really focus on. But if that's what you're doing, feel free to put a longer one on.
25 sounds good. I have a taco timer that was just in my suggestions, so we'll go with it.
Also, Marta, I don't know if it's in relation to the question, but don't worry if you don't want to show an example. But if you do have words to describe your prose as a writer, that's still good. You don't
Mhm.
have to show a snippet if you don't want to.
You don't have to.
There's no obligation apart from the hosts.
I'm not going to come to your house, Marta. It's okay.
Knock on the door. What the fuck, Marta? Where's your
Yeah.
example?
How dare you not participate? We were all rooting for you. No. You can just describe what you think your style is like, and I will accept that, I promise.
Yeah.
All right. Well, have fun snippet hunting and or writing and or whatever else you would like to do on this sprint. Um, Good luck. All right, everybody. That is the end of our taco sprint.
I love this one. It's so cute.
I hope you enjoyed. How was your sprint?
Good. I made a TikTok and posted it.
Lovely.
It is not what I had planned to do, which is I need to do a chatty TikTok where I talk about writing stuff. But
Hmm.
I had been filming every little bit of my day to day because it's been so nice, and I was like, I should make a TikTok of it and just put
Yeah.
like a chill, sunny writing, reading day in London vibes. So
Lovely. Lovely.
that's what I was just posting now, and I think it says upload complete. It's very short, but I enjoyed making it. So yeah.
Amazing. I can't wait to go see all the sunny vibes. That sounds so lovely.
Yay. It's a lot of Edgar, my dog, and
Yeah.
the barbecue and just me reading. And then also this stream, I took like a quick shot.
Oh.
This was like I thought I had a lot of footage, but TikTok automatically like shortens it. Like
Hmm.
if you select all a bunch of videos and then put next, the AI will like make them into tiny little snippets that match a certain
Whoa.
song. And then when you click on song, if you want to replace the sound, it's clearly also the AI that tells you like here's like good songs for it, because
Hmm.
all of the recommendations were like something about like a puppy walk and stuff like that. I was just like, oh, they know
Because
it.
it saw the dog and it was like, how about a cutesy little doo doo doo? That's
Yeah,
really
so
sweet.
it was that kind of stuff, and then I wanted to select like I enjoy a lot of music that I don't see at all on TikTok. So I was just like, I'm just gonna
Mm.
select a song that I've really been enjoying that fits the vibe. So I did that, and it's so funny because it's like 10 videos on this song, and like that's it. I'm just like, okay, it's not gonna get popular through the sound then.
Yeah. But we'll like it as a piece of art.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it.
Very good. I just finished the last thing that I needed to film as like a little before shot in this room. So now I'm ready for the rest of the day to actually start doing stuff, which I'm so excited about because I've had like this stuff behind me for 2 weeks now.
You've
So
had a tough couple of work weeks, so
yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
have. I had a conference this past weekend, which Malin already knows, but I have been brain out of body. So I'm putting the pieces of my life back
Yeah.
together and turning back to writing and turning back to projects, which has been fun.
Yeah.
Let me see how everybody else did. Marta said, after staring at that question a while, I've decided I don't know how to answer the first half of it either. It's hard. I was thinking about it too. I sat here after I finished my vlog clip and I just kind of overthought everything about my writing for 6
Which
minutes.
may I also recommend to you, as I did to Wallace the other day, this book. I actually haven't read it yet.
Oh my
I just
gosh.
reviewed it because it just came out, and it's by the author of Cultish, which I really enjoyed because it's about the languages of cult and how it
Mm.
transpires in a lot of things that are cultish, such as I think she talks about that cycling thing that's like a lot of people do, and how
Oh,
I've got
Peloton or whatever.
I think I'm not even sure if it was Peloton or something else. Like, there's like a class thing
Yeah,
where they do
Soul
cycling.
Cycle or something?
Yes, Soul Cycle.
Yeah.
Soul Cycle is one of the examples in Celtic that uses cult-like language in
Oh
general.
my
So it's
gosh.
fascinating. So yeah, I would recommend it. But
I've always
I
been
haven't read
so
it yet.
terrified of those.
But it's so interesting because it's just like it talks a lot about big corporations like, Apple and stuff like that, and how they use language
Mm.
within the company to get people to be like, we're part of this cult.
Mm,
That's
I
lovely.
belong. I want to
Yeah,
be part of the group.
exactly. So it's very
Yeah,
interesting.
I will add that to my list. Yes, Wallace
Honestly, like,
Tries.
leave me alone. I'm sorry. I'm
Um,
an overthinker. I bought the book because I'm also an overthinker.
yes. I think a lot of writers probably are.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's part of it.
Well, should we get brave?
Yes.
And think about our answer to this question since we're talking so much about all the authors who have done that scary step of putting their work
Mm.
out there. How would you describe your prose as a writer? Can you show an example of a snippet that you feel exemplifies your style if you want to?
Yes. So I would describe my prose as to be honest, I will use many words to describe my prose because I don't have a one-word answer.
Hmm.
I think I have worried for a really long time about whether my prose was any good or not, because I'm not an English speaker at birth. I am first a French speaker who then learned English.
Yeah.
And writing in English by itself was a scary step in itself. Like the just making, the change from writing in French to writing in English. And then being like, will I ever be as good in a second language as I could ever be in my first language? Was
Wow.
scary thought thinking process.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say because of that, I have focused more on trying to emulate what I really enjoy reading. And what I really enjoy reading is plain, simple, effective prose. So I'm going to describe my prose as effective because I think
Yeah.
it does the job. I think one of my strengths that I like about myself as a writer, because it's rare, is my pace. And I feel like I
Mm.
do have good pacing when it comes to action scenes and scary scenes and things like that. So I hope it transpires in the language I use. That's my
Yes.
general answer.
Yeah, I totally agree, having read The Art of Summoning Demons, and I'm so glad that you brought up your perspective as being English as a second language. Like,
Mm.
I can't even imagine like writing a book in Spanish. And I know that at least at first it would not rise to the level of what my imagination is, and that
Yeah.
probably is frustrating. Um, and I think you've talked about how now you maybe prefer to write in English, so
I
that's
do.
incredible.
And the funny thing is, I think it really reflects what I enjoy in terms of prose, because the
Mm,
reason why I don't like writing in French or really reading in French is because French is, as a language, very formal and very
mm,
literary. And when I try to write a similar scene in French, it would sound overly flowery just because of the
interesting.
nature of the language. While English is very straight to the point. You can in English be a lot more like just descriptive, and it's not ugly. It doesn't become like ugly because of it. It's just
Mm.
effective. So I don't know.
Interesting, interesting. I so that is something I really wish is that I had another language so I could have that perspective, because I think
Yeah.
that is so interesting that just by its nature, certain languages have different feelings to you.
Yeah, but I'm mostly speaking about writing because I feel like you can be
Yes,
informal in speaking French.
sure.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of ways to do so. But if you were to write them, you wouldn't be getting away with it. Like it would be like, oh, that wasn't edited. Do you know what I mean? Like it would need
Mhm.
to sound more flowery and more formal. And
Mhm.
it doesn't work with my brain.
Well, I do really enjoy your writing, and I think your action is really excellent. Do you have a snippet, or shall we
I,
save it
I
for another day?
do. I've gotten a snippet ready, and I think maybe I'm self-sabotaging here. 'Cause I was like psychoanalyzing myself. I was like, I'm gonna get a snippet ready from Space Princess Project,
Cool.
which has not had a single round of revision yet.
Mhm.
So this is pure unadulterated, like straight from my brain, not a single
This is
revision.
raw, unfiltered. This is Malin's voice.
Exactly. But the reason why I thought I would be, like very honest about it and just give that out is because I actually think my actiony scenes, I don't change them much when I revise
Mm,
them.
yeah.
Because it's more about like I'm almost writing as fast as I think the scene is happening. And it's like almost like, yeah, and then this happens and then this happens. And so that's why I thought that would be more like honest and I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
like it.
so this is a passage from Space Princess. I'll start reading. And
Wonderful. You can screen share too if you want, but
I think it's oh yeah, do you know what? Maybe because some people are more visual. Actually, let me put away some stuff and start at the top so I don't show anything else.
if you don't want to do that, you don't have to.
No, that's fine. That might be easier. As someone, if I were watching this, I would prefer to read it at the same time, which is why I'll do that. Share screen and window entire screen. I'll just share the entire screen of this one. Is that working? That's not working. Is it? Yes,
I think
it
I
is.
just had to add it for you. There you go.
Oh, okay, there you go. I'll zoom in a little bit. Cool. So I'll start from the top here. We need to get out of here, says Morgan, and whether the brethren are here for us or not, I agree wholeheartedly. He grabs my hand and parts the small crowd of people pushing against us. Follow my lead. People gasp as Morgan forces some space around us and grabs onto the metal pole that goes from the balcony's barrier and the sort of canopy-like roof above us. Using it as leverage, he pulls himself up onto the barrier, his feet balancing him on the metal rod like a tightrope dancer. He beckons for me to do the same, and I stop my brain from questioning this plan too much. Once again, we're stuck between Scylla and Charybdis. I grab his hand again, and he hoists me up next to him, then holds me in place as I teeter like a metronome for a few seconds. The ruckus inside the tram seems to be getting closer. Morgan looks from me to the platform and nods, as though saying, "Yep, we're going to do that jump." I look back at him in horror. The gap is too wide. One false move, and the doors to the balcony suddenly shatter in a loud, shrill fracas, and the glass falls to the floor, people screaming as small pieces blow in their direction. These guys just used a localized explosive casually in public. They're not joking around. Okay, I say to Morgan, my voice shaking so much, it's all I can utter. The grip of his hand tightens, and we jump. I push as hard as I can with my legs, the muscles of my thighs straining, and suddenly we're airborne. I don't know what's scarier, jumping through space as I did to reach the Veronica's hatch, risking an eternal drift in the vast emptiness until I die, or jumping inside a gravity field, risking immediate pain and death. Before I can decide, the ground catches up with me and my feet land hard onto the platform. The impact hurts like hell and I fall to my knees. That's it. That's where I'll stop.
Snaps! Oh my gosh. I want this book so bad. Oh my gosh. I loved that. And like you do have so much description in your prose. And as a zero draft, like you had a bunch of metaphors in there that I caught. And you're so good about setting. I remember that from The Art of Summoning Demons too, like taking
Hmm.
time to describe what Orion sees, which I have that weakness.
It's one of these things where, as someone who hates revising, it's so scary that one of the main recommendations from like pro writing aid and like anything,
Mm,
people always like get rid of all the I see this, I do that, like just have the action immediately instead of she turns
yeah.
around and sees blah blah blah, like all of those
Hmm.
secondary. But the thing is, when I try to have to me a good action scene that when I write it is about making sure everything makes sense, because the ones that confuse me the most are where I'm like, wait, where are they? What is she grabbing? Wait, I thought her hand was over there.
Right.
Wait, no, that moved. And that's like more about specifically saying this
Yeah.
is where her hand is, and then she grabs onto that, and then that happens. And it's very like step by step. It's a bit scientific instead of like
Hmm.
prosy, but I think that's more effective. So
And I think it feels more formulaic in our minds when we're writing
mm,
it, and then it feels more invisible to the reader, as you were saying earlier, when they're reading it. And I think we, when
yeah,
it comes to action, think about those things so minutely because we want it all to make sense. And then we break
yeah,
down these action scenes in such fine detail that we're like, this feels
exactly.
so blocky,
It's
but
like I need
it
to
doesn't come across
remember
that way.
where that arm was and where that leg was.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Thank you so much for sharing. That was wonderful. Um, Marta said, I was so impressed by the snippet of The Art of Summoning Demons you shared. I really don't think you need to worry about your prose not being good enough.
Thank you.
Oh, um,
Obviously, I shared one of my favorite passages. I don't think the rest of the book is as good as specifically that one passage. You will always be like, "This is my favorite."
I know you have to take us with a grain of salt because obviously we're um, taking our time to pick everything out.
Yeah.
Oh, am I frozen a little bit?
Oh, I don't think so. Am I?
No, you're good. Okay, never mind. I got a spinny wheel for a second and I got scared. Okay.
You're still good.
Um, I can't wait to go through everybody's snippets. Marta said, ironically, fast-paced action scenes are the type of scenes I write the slowest. Exactly, me too.
It's the minutiae. I understand, like having to think about everything specifically. Yeah,
Hmm.
hard.
Um, all right, I guess I need to be brave.
Yeah, and I love your prose. I love reading.
Oh.
Like your book, invisible prose to the maximum. Like I was just plunged inside the story the whole time. So
Oh, thank you.
not being
It's
brave, it's just showing what you can do, girl.
oh god. The pressure's on. It's really hard to describe my style because I have tried on so many different styles. I've
Yeah,
tried to write so many different kinds of books, and I do feel like with Project Gemstone, I've landed on something that I love and want to stick with, but it's so different from anything I've tried before. um, it's a little bit heightened, it's third person, and what I really love about it is getting to be a little bit silly with the narration and getting to have a little bit of narrative commentary on what's happening and the characters, and it's a
yeah.
little bit just the camp of it all, you know what I mean? I
I think
really
there's something a little bit whimsical about your prose
yeah.
that feels very appropriate to the fact that you were like, it's sort of half cozy, but not exactly. And I
Mhm.
think your prose really lands that. So yeah.
Hopefully the snippet I have gives some sense of this. I really enjoy dialogue. I have quite a lot of dialogue in all my scenes, and I'm very character focused. And sometimes when I'm drafting, I get lost in just focusing so much on what the characters are seeing and thinking that I'm not great about setting, and I'm not great about where are we, what's going on.
What is that called again?
The white room.
The white room syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this snippet has been edited, so take that for what you will. Um, and hopefully I haven't picked out something that's too long, but um, let me see here. So basically the context of this scene is um, my main character Poppy is thinking about hiring an assistant. Her name's Juliet, and Juliet basically banged open her door and was like, "You need to hire me." And so Poppy said, "Okay, make me something. Like, let's see what happens." Um, and so they're going through her workshop to try and determine like if she can build something, basically. Okay, can we see this?
It's loading. Yes, now it works.
Okay.
I feel like I'm on a Zoom call with clients. I'm
I
sorry.
know. Sorry, this is so work
Can
core.
everyone see my screen?
Can you see my screen? Okay. Okay. All right. Juliet did a slow spin, taking in her surroundings beneath shafts of weak London sunlight. Her gaze landed on a tall wardrobe in the back corner. What do you keep in there? Oh, Poppy had honestly forgotten all about it. I have a few rolls of fabric and some, well, garbage, Nareth hooted with judgment. It's not garbage, she huffed. When I moved into this flat, there were a few things left behind. I thought maybe I could recycle some of it, but I just never got around to it. Juliet brightened and made a beeline for the wardrobe. She whipped open the doors, and Poppy groaned as the banished items came to light. First to get shuffled out were 3 rolls of upholstery fabric, which Poppy had purchased a year ago to refinish her salon. Pale powder blue had become the new color of the salon, and meanwhile the bolts of emerald rose and coffee brown had been chucked into the wardrobe. Next, and more embarrassing, Juliet dragged out a box of old rusted trinkets, a broken lampshade, a mantel clock, and a lantern. From the depths, she even procured a bent umbrella frame, broken in a previous springtime storm, after which Poppy had dumped it unceremoniously into the trash wardrobe, as she called it in her mind, and never thought of it again. Now Juliet stood before her in this wreckage, weighing the lampshade and the umbrella in each hand. She bit her lip. I'm sorry if I lack any materials to your liking, Poppy said, suddenly self-conscious. Maybe she had asked too much of Juliet. She warmed to the idea of taking on someone talented, someone creative, someone she could design with, someone like herself, which Juliet undoubtedly was. But to make a masterpiece at the drop of a hat, maybe that was too much to expect from someone. She tended to always expect more from people than they were usually able to give. But just as she was about to tell Juliet to forget the whole thing, Juliet grinned. Don't apologize. I have everything I need.
Oh my god, I love this.
Eek.
I love it.
I love Juliet so much.
I love that you can see glimpses of the characters through your prose. And I think you're right about being like you're more character driven. Like
Hmm.
it comes through in the passages. You always have that sense of who your characters are.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this is the first project where I feel like I really understood how fun it could be to play with tone.
Mhm. Yeah.
um, and it's been really fun. So,
Yeah, there's definitely a whimsical aspect to the tone. It feels a little bit like this has a lightheartedness that makes it
mhm.
slightly cozy, which I love.
Yeah, it's been really fun to kind of narratively make fun of Poppy sometimes. And kind of make her
Yeah.
look a little bit silly for because she's a bit of a snob. And so sometimes I like to take her down a peg with my narrative and
Yes.
make her a little embarrassed about the fact that she has a wardrobe full of trash and someone's going through it.
Also, in other passages, you really feel like how much it's so funny because it's like she's so well rounded that it comes through naturally. I think when you write her, that
Thank
you've
you.
got these little hidden passages of like, oh yeah, she's a little bit worried about accepting, help from this person or that person. I don't
Hmm.
want to reveal anything, but
Yeah.
it, you feel her reluctance about certain things just through the language, which I think is really good.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love that.
Um, yeah, so that was us. I'm so excited to see what everybody else has offered for their sacrifice.
Sacrifice
um,
to the lazy gang gods.
yeah, I'm sorry, I'm wicked behind on the comments. Sorry, y'all. Um, I'm going all the way back up. Okay, 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 okay. Um, Adam said, my priority in prose is the flow. I structure things on the sentence and paragraph level to support the past idea, supply a present idea, and plant seeds for the future idea. Oh my goodness.
That's amazing.
Amazing. In other words, I treat sentences and paragraphs the way Marvel treats an entire film. Accomplishing a lot. This might be why revising is my favorite part of the process. You don't 100% know whether or not what you're doing works at line level until you see the story from start to
Yeah,
finish.
that's very
Yeah,
true.
that's
Yeah.
a scary part about it for me.
Yeah, I don't like revising. It scares me.
Yeah, I'm starting to learn that drafting's really where it at is where it's at. Wallace is also making a TikTok.
Yay.
We're talking about some recipe testing. I'm very excited for this.
Yes. I'm so excited for Wallace's new TikTok life.
Yes, I literally got the TikTok app just so I could follow both of you.
Nice.
Um, if my life goes downhill, I'm blaming both of you.
Don't worry,
um,
if you don't spend too much time on it, the algorithm doesn't know what you like, so all you'll get is rubbish. So you'll be like, this app is rubbish, so you won't use it.
yeah. So far, that's how it's been. I'm just watching my friends and then leaving, which that's fine. Marta was resting on this sprint, which I'm happy about. Adam did some laundry and
Everyone is
then
doing
looked up
laundry
some
today.
films. Yeah, laundry day.
Ooh, I want to go see Monkey Man, but just haven't had the chance to yet. And it's just like it's too nice today. I would not go to the cinema today. But yeah, I'm very interested in it.
It's okay. I still haven't finished unpacking, so only 2 weeks to put away the things behind you. Sounds like an accomplishment to me. Thanks, Marta. I hope your move is almost wrapped up
Yeah.
or done and you're getting some time to be settled.
It will if Marta is anything like me, she will forever have two boxes behind her that will never ever get unpacked. Just will stay there
Yeah.
until one day, which happened last weekend, a gigantic fucking spider comes crawling out of one of the boxes and you go like, maybe I should sort this.
No.
This is gonna make me sort the damn box.
No. No. I think we were teasing Wallace about overthinking.
Yeah.
Um, do do do. Marta said, "If it helps, I don't think I could write it." Yes, you could, Marta. Yes, you could. I would assume. And Marta, part of the reason why I would love your help is I have a character whose native language is Spanish, and I want all the thoughts on what it's like to be, you know,
Oh. Oh no, Anna dropped out. That was so dramatic. Well, there you are.
What just happened?
You dropped out.
I'm so sorry. What was the last thing I said?
You were saying why you were going to need Marta's help for your character.
Oh, I need Marta's help because I have a character whose native language is Spanish, and I want her opinion on how much Spanish to include, what would be appropriate, what do you think about, being English as a second language and your experience with that. So,
can I be super annoying? Can you swap us over again?
oh
Because I
yeah.
find it very strange to not be in the same order we were before. Because I don't know.
Mm-mm.
It's just my brain. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, sorry for that interruption, you guys. Steek said, I famously write police reports, but working on it.
You said this. I kind of love that description of what.
It's so funny. But it's so accurate to how I feel sometimes when I'm zero drafting. Just
It's like,
get
what was
it
the
out.
suspect like? Okay, so Raphael is.
Yeah. Describe the suspect. And that's how I feel whenever I'm writing character descriptions. I just feel very like I'm writing a police report. That's totally okay, Adam. Thanks for telling us what you think your style is like.
Yeah.
Hi, JK. My prose is more simplistic, but adds some beauty to the things I'm describing. Not sure if I want to share a snippet just yet. That is okay.
Fair.
As I'm not sure which one presents my writing the best. Yeah, it is hard. I spent a long time trying to pick out that little paragraph, I will admit.
It's a tough one. And even when I did the video where I said I was going to read a couple of chapters from The Art of Summoning Demons, I was like, what do I read? And that's actually probably one of my favorite scenes to read because it represents my style, I think. But I wasn't going to reread the same thing here. So I need to pick something else.
That was a great selection as well. I love that scene. We have a snippet from Steeg.
Yes.
Okay. The cave entrance was opposite from him in the deep gorge. The scorching sun burned above him, making the red rock glow. A few dead shrubs scattered the canyon ground, and a stench of rotten eggs filled his nostrils as he drew in his surroundings. The rotten smell was a telltale sign of monster activity, that and the countless bones and carcasses scattered around him. Yep, they had definitely tracked it to its den.
Oh my god.
From chapter 1, Knock Knock. That is such a good chapter title.
That's so good. Please send me more.
I love that the sulfuric smell of rotten eggs is the smell of monsters. That's so smart.
I think it's also rare to read about smell when it comes to the senses, when it comes to good prose. People often skip over the sense of smell, I find. So
Yes.
whenever you have like a good description of what something smells like, I'm like always, yes, I'm in the scene because I don't expect it as much.
I love that. I can't believe you wrote that quickly with minimal revisions. I know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Oh, let us know. Oh, shoot. I don't know how to do that from here. I'm sorry, JK. If I have any other wrenches in the chat, maybe they can drop it. I usually just wrench people I've streamed with, but
Marta has a wrench.
I'm deputizing the other wrenches to figure this out. Thank you, JK. Listen, if Alex Garland has written action even half as good as you, Malin, I'm going to enjoy Civil War.
Thank you.
GGG was such a good book prose-wise. It really served the genre and the story so well. Oh, thank you, Steeg. Very kind of you.
I like that we're still calling it GGG now.
Yeah, it's GGG. GGG. Yes.
No, you don't have to offer up a sacrifice of your own writing.
Okay. It's okay. I'm not going to force everybody. But I know eventually my goal is that you'll be so comfortable that you'll give away all your snippets and all your secrets.
Yes. We're just further away in the comments, but I see
Really?
I see messages that look like writing from Marta. Yes.
Excellent. Okay, sorry guys. I'll go quicker. Hi, Elizabeth. Happy to have you. Devasia said, I would describe my prose as dialogue heavy because that's the easy part. Yes, I am with you.
But I disagree on the easy. I feel like it's hard to write good dialogue and dialogue that feels realistic without being too realistic because you don't want it to sound like how people are actually talking. Because
Mhm.
I mean, I've said the word because 3 times in a row, and that would be shitty to have in a book. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like it's not as easy as people say to write
It's
good
hard.
dialogue.
It is really hard. Yeah. We have to make it not sound like how people actually talk, but it does have to give the inkling of how people really talk.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Adam. Hope you have a good Saturday at the theater. Oh,
Yeah.
Sound of Music. That'll be fun. Marta is starting to think that the boxes are just part of the furniture now.
Yeah, and then you forget about them until a spider crawls out of them.
No idea. Okay, thank you, Marta. That's absolutely fair. Yes, we're going to stop overthinking. I'm so excited. Thank you, Marta. Okay, here is Marta's snippet. Lisa held her breath and tightened her grip around the safety rail as the elevator jerked out of place, starting its rapid descent. The rickety structure bent upwards beneath her feet as it fought against gravity, its creaked complaints only just louder than the impact of the air whooshing past her ears. Her heart fluttered against her chest and didn't slow down until the familiar collision against the bottom of the pit gave her permission to breathe. The air was warm and stale. The contrast with the cold winter air she'd breathed in only a few seconds ago made her lungs tickle. Oh,
That was so good.
thank you,
That was
Marta.
such beautiful descriptions.
Yeah,
Really.
I really felt so uneasy going on this
Yes.
elevator ride. That really came through. Well done.
The gods approve your sacrifice.
Yay! And we have one from JK. Very exciting.
Yay!
You guys are being so generous. I'm so happy. Okay.
Yes.
A broad smile crossed Xavier's face as he admired Lydia's content one that made his heart thump in his chest. He loved moments like this, moments where they could just forget their rivals and just be themselves. His heart rate increased as Lydia snapped out of her trance. That sounds beautiful, Valdez.
Ooh. It's a
Nice
romance,
character.
right?
Yes, it is. A nice character moment. Oh.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I think I misspoke. Content one. Lydia's content one. Wonderful. Thank you, JK.
Yes, thank you.
Yay. Yay, you get to stay in the cult. Thank you, Marta. Yes, well done, everybody.
And also Keiko joined us.
Hi,
Hi.
Keiko. Oh my gosh, 2-day, 6-hour workshop. That sounds long and draining. My goodness.
It does. Oh, and I think Grape shared JK's mood board if you want
Did
to
I
see
miss
it.
something? Did I miss something? I'm sorry.
Last. I can try to open it if you
Oh,
want.
I just got it. Okay,
Got
there
it?
we go.
Yeah, nice.
If you'd like to see a mood board, please click. Thank you, Grape.
Amazing.
And we have a snippet from Devasia.
Yes.
Is this from Project Pirates? Please let me know because I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with Project Pirates. Okay. You're just a scared little girl playing grown up. They stood toe to toe, noses almost touching. Somewhere in her brain, she thought it'd be the perfect time to see if his lips were as soft as they looked. But instead of pushing her lips forward to see, she parted them to speak. And you're a prince who will never be king. I'm seated.
Grape, send us everything right now. Okay.
I
I want to
know.
read this.
Okay, sure. Just drop me in the most intense scene and don't let me read anymore. That's fine. That's fine.
That was so good because I feel like all of these snippets we've just gotten from everyone are super short and are so intense and just immediately you know what's going on and you know who the people are and what's like. I just love how much skill it shows from everyone because it's just
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that was such a short amount of words to say exactly what's going on. I love that.
Yeah, you guys are pretty smart. You're really good at picking out your hooks.
Loving it.
Yes, I love all the snippets. And thank you, Devesha, for getting the Ko-Fi link. I appreciate you. Topic was work law and what rights you have as an employee and the pitfalls. Stuff the guy told us from
Mm,
experience sounded like an episode of Game of Thrones. Yeah.
yeah.
Workplace rights. Oh boy. Oh
Yeah.
boy. Yes. Great prize. Sounds so
Yes.
good. Good luck with your pie, Wallace.
Send us pictures.
And Project Sugar and
Nice.
Spice will be out this year, fingers crossed.
Nice.
Excellent. All right. Well, do we want to do one more like wrap up sprint or how are you feeling?
Yeah, I can do one more. I think I can do like a 2 hours and a half long stream
Okay.
if that's cool with you.
Yeah, that sounds
Tomorrow.
good.
We should
Do
really
we
discuss these things before we get on.
we should.
You know.
We can make this one quick. We won't spend as much time on this one, but we did have one last question, which was if you want to, if you have anything handy, you could point out some examples of prose that you really enjoyed or prose you didn't enjoy or that pulled you out, and we could talk about why that is.
And if it makes it easier for anyone in the chat who wants to share, just give us the title of the book and author, or even if you're like, I love anything by this author and I think they write really lovely prose. I'd love to
Mhm.
know because I'd love to read more beautiful prose. So.
Yeah, yeah. You don't have to pick out like the paragraph. You can just tell us like this book was amazing. um, so be
Because we
thinking about
realized
that.
it was hard to find a specific passage. I was thinking of all the books I was like, I love this prose, but I can't find a passage.
Yes. So let me pick out a little bit of a shorter timer here. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Gonna do a typewriter, I should say, from Violet.
Nice.
So this is gonna be 15 minutes, and then we'll do a quick wrap up and shout out some pros that we enjoy, hopefully. Good luck, everybody. All right, everybody. That is the end of our typewriter timer.
We're out of time.
How was your last little sprint?
I managed to, well, first of all, I got get myself a glass because it is past 5 p.m. here and I had a bottle open. So,
Wonderful.
and second, I sent one query. So
Yay!
even though I meant to send two today, I sent one and I can send the other one tomorrow. So that's still my quota for the week.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Query confetti.
And it was an easy one to send. And I just had two people from that agency I was interested in and just picked the one that I was like, this would be the better fit, I think. So yes, fingers crossed.
Excellent.
How was your time?
It was good. I kept working on chapter 18, which is the chapter that I'm on currently. And we're just getting into the writing mode. So, yeah.
Nice. Very exciting.
Yeah. So, very quickly, I won't keep you too long, but if you did have some examples of prose that you wanted to shout out or wag your finger at, let us know.
Oh, I just thought of bad examples, and I didn't really try to find bad examples, but I don't think I would have the books on my shelf anymore if I really didn't like something.
Right. That's
Yeah.
okay. We're gonna stick with the positivity, and that's good.
Yeah. I did pick. So these are just to show and not tell. I'm not going to go in details about those. So one author I love is Jeff Vandermeer in the sense that he writes weird sci-fi. If you've ever seen the Annihilation movie with Natalie Portman in it, he wrote that trilogy. So
Yes.
very weird sci-fi type of vibes, and he writes in that way as well. It feels weird, but I like it, and I always feel like I have a bunch of new vocabulary words to learn from him. So definitely like that style because it doesn't take me out. It's still a similar, like it's a good pace, you know what's going on, but the weirdness aspect comes from as well, like the choice of language that he has sometimes, and so I think that's why I like it because it really evokes the sense of what the fuck is going on there.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate. A young adult example I really enjoy is Now Entering Adamsville by Francesca Zappia.
Oh, yes.
And it's simply because I think she's quite effective in writing sort of like actiony stuff and just a sense of this is the one author I would ever recommend, like this one book specifically. If you ever want to see an extremely slow burn potential inkling of a romance done well, leave you then on Your Hunger, because there's no other book in this. Like I'm pretty sure this would have been a series had it sold
God.
better,
No.
but I'll never know what happens, and it'll always be in my head. And I know this, but just from this book, I was like, I want this character and this character to get together.
I
So
love that. I love
I
that.
feel like she does that extremely well. And then finally, the book I will actually read a tiny snippet from is All Systems Red by Martha Wells, which is the first in the Murderbot series, because I feel like that's maybe the more similar vibes to what I write. Like I like the snarkiness of the character that comes through the writing.
Yeah.
And I like the action and the fact that there's stuff happening. There are people shooting, and it's sort of more that vibe that I write.
Yeah.
So this is sort of at the beginning-ish. I'll just get from page 68 if anyone's interested. Keeping my drones with me, I took the inner corridor and moved silently past Medical's blasted hatch. 3 bodies were piled inside where the humans had tried to secure it and been trapped when their own sec units blew it open to slaughter them. When I was close to the corridor with the hatch where both units were waiting for me and Dr. Menza to come wandering in, I sent the drones around for a careful look. Oh yeah, they were there. With no weapons on my drones, the only way to do this was to move fast. So I threw myself around the last corner, hit the opposite wall, crossed back, and kept going, firing at their positions. I hit the first one with 3 explosive bolts in the back and 1 in the faceplate as it turned towards me. It dropped. The other one I nicked in the arm, taking out the joint, and it made the mistake of switching its main weapon to its other hand, which gave me a couple of seconds. I switched to rapid fire to keep it off balance, then back to the explosive bolt. That dropped it. I hit the floor, needing a minute to recover. I'll stop there. It's
Mm,
very short, but I feel like she does really well the sense of action and the sense of urgency.
yeah, that really hits on like what we were saying before, where you're having to explain like spatially where everything is and what
Yeah,
your character sees. Like the fact that he had to like go into the room and then like go around the corner, or I don't know, the robot does not have pronouns, so excuse me, but um I thought that
yeah.
was really well
I
done.
think Murderbot considers themselves to be a they them, but I'm not entirely sure.
Interesting.
I think, if I remember correctly. However, Murderbot will be played by Alexander Skarsgård, so
Oh, cool.
I'm excited to see that. But yeah, I like how it's a distinct voice because you have the snarky comments from the character at the same time, and like when you read it you're like, oh yeah, I'm in this character's mind.
Mm,
However, it's also very clear cut, like it's a sec unit bot, so it's straight to the point, descriptive, and like, okay,
yeah.
this happened, I turn there, I shoot 3 bolts, then this. And I kind of like that because I think when you're in an action scene that works really well.
And it conveys the way their mind works with these like calculations. It doesn't
Yeah,
have like emotion in the calculations it's making, but not in a way that's boring. It's just that's their character.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. I
Hmm.
have a little stack because, like you, I also had a really hard time like finding a specific paragraph all of a sudden. Like
Yeah,
I know I've had books where the prose really struck me and made me kind of like stop in my tracks. But of
yeah,
course, when it comes time for me to find them,
yeah.
I was struggling. But I wanted to point out the Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels, which is what I'm actually currently in the middle of.
Yeah.
I'm reading this as like a potential comp for GGG, but it's just so
Sorry,
much
I
better
love
than GGG that
dogs.
I just
Actually.
like
Yeah.
cannot like I feel bad even saying that. Um, Edgar causing mischief.
He literally just came in, pushed the door open, said hi, and left again. Sorry.
That's amazing.
I actually love that book that you've got
Yeah,
there. I read that one. I haven't read the other ones, so I don't know if they're as good,
excellent.
but I really enjoyed that one. So yeah,
I'm
agreed.
loving it because it's so ridiculous.
Yes.
And the prose is very, very heightened in a way
Mhm.
that I could not pull off, but is so well done and to a comedic effect that's very, very funny. Um,
Yes.
just the propriety of it all matched with the ridiculous things that they're doing is very
Yeah.
funny.
I think it's
Um,
also hard to do that well. So it's particularly impressive when you get something that's like, oh, it's trying to do something different and managing to.
yes, yeah. Something more literary that I really enjoyed is We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. And this is a contemporary, very short book, almost like a novella.
I like the
Um,
figure.
and it's been a real, I know, isn't it gorgeous? It's
Yeah.
been a really long time since I read this. So I don't know how good my summary is going to be, but it's a Prince Award winner, really well written. And this is an example of literary fiction I really enjoy just because it was so evocative as far as
Mm,
setting
yeah.
on this college campus. And I think if I remember right, she's like stuck at this campus alone over winter break. And it just evokes this like sense of crushing loneliness.
Oh, yeah.
I hope that I'm remembering it right, but that's what I remember feeling about this book. And it really was one of those books that the emotion of it just came right off the page. So
Yeah.
there's that one. And then the one that I will read just a tiny bit of is My Plain Jane, because it's another example of a book that taught me that narrative can be kind of silly.
Mm,
And this was like the first book I read in a long time where I was like, oh, it's okay to be really funny. And, like with your prose, you can do ridiculous things with your prose and have it
yeah. It's not
work.
all that serious, and it's
It's not
okay.
all that
Yeah.
serious. Um, and the part I'm reading from, I think it's very short. I'm not going to read a lot, but um, all you need to know is that it's a retelling of Jane Eyre, except in this world there are ghosts and ghost hunters. um, so this particular chapter opens. You are quite possibly the most annoying person I've ever met, Alexander shouted above the beating hooves as the carriage careened wildly along the road. He and his assistant were not currently riding in the carriage as normal people are meant to do, but clinging to the back as a ghost in a top hat laughed maniacally from the driver's seat, spooking the already spooked horses. It had been a bad day. A bad week, really. "I'm sorry, sir," shouted Mr. Branwell. "Please don't tell Mr. Wellesley. I didn't know he was a ghost." Alexander cursed as a rock flew past his head. "How could you not know? He was transparent. You could practically see through him." "My vision's not the best, sir." At the moment, Mr. Branwell's spectacles were dangling from his nose upside down, snagged in his mask. So,
I love that.
this book is so good. I really quite enjoy it. So, those are my prose examples.
I like it because it's very there's a like again, I don't want to use the word whimsical again. I feel like I keep
Mhm.
sticking to that one word, but there's something, yeah, like you said, silly about it and fun.
Yeah.
Is oh yeah, this is gonna be a fun read. Like when you start a movie and you see like a funny scene and you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this. I
Yeah,
feel
it
like
just has
that was
that lighthearted tone to it that comes across so immediately.
yeah.
Wallace is waiting for the pie to finish, trying to clear out the goblin mode remnants from my room, thinking I might head to a coffee shop to write once the pie is finished. That sounds lovely. I missed what kind of pie it is, but I'm very
Yeah,
jealous. Any pie is good pie.
I do love pie. And I think Stieg had said a little bit earlier as well, Samantha
Oh,
Shannon, an
yes.
example,
I've heard
which
this as well, that her prose is really incredible. Um, she is
yeah.
someone who I'm going to use a term from a book podcast that I listen to. I listen to the what's it called? Unbound Books. Oh my God. I think so. Unbound Books podcast. And they have this silly term called mashed potato books, where you have this book that you know you're going to love so much that you put it off.
Yes. Oh, I would never do that with mashed potatoes. What the hell? But yes, I understand the feeling though. Yeah.
Yeah. Regardless of how you feel about mashed potatoes, that's just how they call these books that you kind of get intimidated by because you know that they're just going to be so good and so perfect. And that's kind of how I feel
Yes.
about Samantha Shannon. She's a mashed potato author for me.
Sometimes I do that with movies or TV shows where like I start something and I'm like, I have to pause it because it's too good and I need a second
Exactly.
to get ready for how good this is gonna be.
Yeah.
And to know at which pace to digest it.
Yeah, that's how I feel about I did that same exact thing to the book Station 11. I've been halfway through it for about 5 years because I loved it so much that I like got scared and put it down.
Oh my god, yes. Is that like an anxiety thing? I
Like,
feel
does
like
that
it's an
make
anxiety
sense?
thing. I get almost like maybe anxious at like, is this gonna get ruined? Am I wrong? Like, is this not gonna be as good if I
Yeah.
continue?
It's
Yeah.
almost like I wanna savor it, like, I wanna be in a good headspace so I can really pay attention and enjoy it, and I'm
Yeah.
just, like, too chaotic right now to give this book its due or something. I don't know why, but I really need to finish that book. Like, I was
Yeah.
really liking it. Um, Devasia said, "House of Hollow" by Crystal Sutherland has great prose. It leans flowery, and she captured the dark fairy tale vibe perfectly. The imagery and
Ooh,
description were so evocative.
nice.
Wonderful. I've heard a lot of great things about this author.
Yeah, same.
One of my favorite Shannon quotes, "My line shall be a line of queens, my realm a queendom mighty to behold, for she was my strength, the root of my heart, and her memory will live until the end of time. Itself, I tell you, our house shall be an endless river, a chain long as eternity."
It's beautiful.
Oh my God.
It's very
Wow.
beautiful.
It's very beautiful. And it's just making her more of a mashed potato to me.
I don't get it. There are superior forms to the potato. The mashed version is
Yeah.
not the superior form. I mean, if you put a lot of butter in it, yes.
Yeah.
But
I guess their rationale was they always save the potatoes because, they're so good. And then, I don't know. I always eat them first because they're so good. But
yeah.
Wallace said it's meant to be a persimmon pie, but persimmons are not in season. So I'm using blood oranges just to make sure all ingredient amounts are correct and the pie is edible. That's so
Ooh,
cool. I've
that
never
sounds
heard of
delicious.
like a citrus pie. It's really interesting.
That sounds perfect.
Hi, Eva. We are probably wrapping up. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Eva.
But thank you for saying hi.
Also, if you have a good writer that you would recommend based on their prose,
Mhm.
like specifically we're talking about prose today, feel free to put it in the chat.
Yes, we're taking notes. I know I don't totally understand the metaphor, but it's the best way I can explain it. They are so good. I love mashed potatoes. Problem solved. Eat them first and last.
Yes. And I'm more for, I never understand when
Oh,
people
okay.
eat things one at a time because they're like, I eat this first and then this first. I'm like, if
Mm,
it's meant to be together in one dish, then it should all be like you should have all the different flavors in one spoon.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry I'm ruining the metaphor by talking about actual eating.
No, I've always thought it didn't quite hold water, but also I completely forgot about these citrus pies.
Mm.
So I'm losing it. Thank you, Kiko, for coming. Eva recommends Richard Powers. I DNF'd his book, The Overstory, but it's so beautiful with the prose. Beautiful and boring was my review.
That's not for me then.
Yeah. Maybe it was beautiful, but maybe it wasn't effective.
My example of that is Addie LaRue. It was like, oh, this is gorgeous. I am so fucking bored.
Yeah, same. Another quote I love is not all of us know what we are. Some of us die without ever knowing. Some of us know and we never get caught. Either way, we're out there. Trust me.
Ooh.
Is this book going to crush me? Oh my God.
Yeah, is this a crime book? Is it a
I'm.
crime book?
Why do I feel like I'm on the verge of tears?
Is this from Priory of the Orange Tree? Is that like that is a Samantha Shannon book, right?
Yes, I think so. From a
Okay.
different book. I thrifted a copy of The Bone Season and it's been sitting on my shelf like a mashed potato, just staring at me. So I'll have to put it on my list soon. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think we will wrap up there. Thank you all so much for joining us for this prose discussion.
Yeah, I've enjoyed this. Oh, Steek says first quote, Day of Fallen Night, and then the second one was Bone Season.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I know. The copy I have is the old edition and she has revised it to like be up with her current writing level. So
Okay,
I
interesting.
think I do need to do that. If I'm really to get the most potato out of this potato, you know.
Yeah, you want the most mash out of your potato.
Yeah. Do you have anything coming up you want to plug before we say goodbye?
Follow me on TikTok. I'm trying to be better at posting actual TikToks or like stitching other people and stuff like that. I'm trying to do that work. And follow me on Instagram as well because I'm also upping my Instagram game. And I did post today my first and last character lines from The Art of Summoning Demons as a post. So
if you want more snippets,
this post, so go and check out this post and give it a like, please. Thank you.
Very cool. Very cool. I am working on this office video that will hopefully come out by the end of April. We will see. I'm going to be streaming next weekend for Michael's Write-a-thon, which
Weekend after.
the weekend after, just kidding.
I'm pretty sure.
Which I'm sure he's going to announce soon.
It's the weekend of the 26th, 27, right? Like 27,
Yeah.
28th of April. So it's not next weekend, which is the 20th, 21st.
Correct. Yes.
But the 27, 28th, because that's when I'm in Brussels, which is why I said I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah. So I'll be streaming either on the 27th or the 28th for that.
Tomorrow, the Blank Page Tavern is going to be doing another
Yeah.
episode of Dungeons and Dragons if you guys are interested.
Yeah, any D&D buddies, make sure you look up the Blank Page Tavern.
And yes, Teague, on the 30th, we're going to be talking about this book,
Yes.
World Building, which was recommended by both Anna and Zainab. So I'm over here. I'm page 110. Where are you, Steve? Are you page 110?
I'm really excited to hear you guys talk about these books because they are some of the more useful craft books I've ever come across.
This book, not these books, plural. I'm not reading 2 for 1 month. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
I have my limits, Anna.
Yeah. I'm like, wait, you didn't read all 3 of them?
No.
Hello.
I did buy 2 because I was mostly interested in number 1 and 2 in the
Mhm.
series, less so in number 3 based on the topic list. But
Yeah,
I'm going to read number 1 this month, and that's it.
excellent. Looks like Steve's gonna do a speed read, which is totally cool.
Nice. Fair enough, to be fair. Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope everyone enjoys the rest of your Saturday. Thanks so much for hanging out with us and having some casual productivity and prose chats and sharing your snippets, being so generous with sharing little bits of your work. It was so
Yeah, that was
lovely.
really good. Thank
It
you,
was really
guys.
fun. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.